War. War never changes.
Nope.
Welcome everybody to Chronology, our new show here at Final Save Point. Basically, where we will take a game series and we will break it apart and tell you storyline-wise which way to play and how everything connects and goes. So, for our first one, we were picking the game that everyone is playing this week, Fallout. And with me, we have my great, wonderful guest. We have Grant over here.
Hello.
And we have Dakota. These guys,
No.
yeah, these guys know a lot of Fallout. They are well versed in all of it. So, basically, to get this thing started, should we just get into the meat of it and just kind of give them a quick overview? How you guys
Yeah.
feel?
Sounds good.
All right. So, basically, to give you a quick overview of how all this stuff goes, let's see here. Basically, this is the timeline. We go Fallout 1, then Tactics, then Brotherhood of Steel, then 2, Fallout 3, New Vegas, then Fallout 4. Alright, so that is like the basic timeline, and I will cut back to me here. Maybe. But, okay, there it goes. So, that is the chronological order of how the games progress. So, let's get us started. We'll talk about Fallout. We'll talk about Fallout 1. So, Kitty and Grant, what do you have to say? So let's go into this a little bit. When
Okay.
did it start?
Well, to begin, if you're not familiar with what Fallout is basically a satirical representation of like a 1950s America, both in ideology and like design and such. It's not actually like our world. It's basically a version of our universe that splits off. They call
Right.
that the divergence. That takes place kind of unofficially between 1945 and early 1970, late
Right.
1960s.
Yeah, it takes on the I guess what is it commonly called, the future ideal of how the 50s saw the future, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
We instead of how our world is now, we kind of switched to nuclear power instead. And so the whole
Microchips.
world of Fallout is based on nuclear power and the assumption that we're still afraid that we're going to get nuked any day. So,
Right.
which is how Fallout starts out. Fallout, the world of Fallout ends basically in what would be the year 2077, and so Fallout 1 takes place 84 years after that event. So we're kind of still early on after the world ends, basically.
All right. Which what year is it that it happens?
And Fallout 1 takes place in 2161.
2161.
When does the Great War happen?
2077,
2077.
October 23rd specifically.
October 20th. Okay, okay. I think for most people, kind of have a good idea of that because that's the beginning of Fallout 4. But for Fallout 1, you don't get to see any of that, right? You're just kind of thrown into it.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
So, give us kind of a little bit of a rundown of Fallout 1, guys.
Fallout 1. Well, how far do we want to go into it? Do we want to spoil the whole thing or just a brief?
Just general overview.
Okay, so I'll let him. Or I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but
Grant, yeah.
I've talked enough. You can go ahead.
Go ahead, Grant.
Grant, yes.
Well, you start off in Vault. What is the vault number in that one?
Neither of us know.
That is a great question. What is what is it? I can't remember either. You remember, Kitty? Or sorry, Dakota?
I'm gonna check real quick.
That's what I normally call him. That's like his screen name and everything.
I want to say it's like
15? No.
15,
No,
13,
no.
something like that.
Wait, is it 92?
Great start here. Yeah.
13.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know. Great question.
Yep, it is Vault 13.
Oh, it is 13. Okay, so
Yep.
Fall 15. Okay.
So in Fallout 1, you start out in Vault 13, and you are sent out into the wasteland to get a water chip because your vault is broken, and they're going to die if no one does.
The water chip is responsible for water purification in the vault, kind of necessary.
Right. Because everything's radiated after nuclear war, so.
Vaults, by the way, giant nuclear fallout shelters. Technically, they're supposed to hold 2,000 people, but you never see that in the games.
No. I mean, one, because they're just
technical limitations.
Technical limitations. Yeah, they don't want to go through the whole thing, and also game Briar would break. So if we go into 3, okay. So basically, you said it's 84 years after. It's 2161. It takes place in California, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Specifically the Los Angeles area.
Right. Which they have a name for California in the future, and like the new.
Yeah, the Boneyard, I think.
Well, that specific area, I think, but there is a name for it's like the New California Republic or something like that.
Oh, well,
that's a faction.
Right.
Oh, okay. See, this is why I have you guys here. Like, I know a little bit of Fallout, but like I'm not super versed in it, so.
They are pretty much the remains of civilization in California.
Mm-hmm.
Is the NCR.
I see. I actually didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah.
So basically, you go through Fallout 1. I'm guessing a bunch of stuff happens, and we don't want to spoil it here. We're just kind of going to give you the connections and everything. So we move into Fallout Tactics, which apparently is, well, it's of course a spin-off. It's not the same exact gameplay style, semi-canon, but I'll have Kitty and everything explain it. So basically, it's just immense, and it's everything is 36 years after the original Fallout. So Kitty and Grant, go ahead and explain this a little bit better.
Okay, so
Dakota, God.
Yeah, it's okay. Fallout Tactics is kind of semi-canon as per Bethesda's decision. All the major events that go on during the game are still canon, and they're referenced in, I think, Fallout 3. All the kind of unimportant details in between are kind of scrapped, basically. And so Fallout Tactics is a little different than Fallout. The gameplay style is tactical, basically.
It's turn-based, right?
Yes, it is.
Kind of.
The first one was turn-based. This one is it's squad-based, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's more squad-based. Okay. Well, didn't the first one follow more D20 rules, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their own version.
Right, their own version of D20, right?
Right.
But yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, tactics. Okay, so like for example, give me a major event.
Well, so it's kind of hard to do that without more or less ruining the whole.
Well, just one.
One?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that simple. Unfortunately, it's kind of a big lead up to the major event. Is really the end of the game, pretty much. So it's.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. For people. Yeah. Well, so that's what's mentioned in Fallout 3. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
To explain a little bit about what Fallout Tactics is, you're the leader of a Brotherhood of Steel,
Initiative.
Another faction.
Initiative. Yeah, Brotherhood of Steel are another faction. Brief explanation of what they are. They're kind of remnants of the U.S. military, sort of similar to another faction that are also in Fallout that we'll bring up later. But they're isolationists and technophiles. They kind of hoard technology, and the story of Fallout Tactics kind of leads up to an important detail involving technology in the Fallout world, but we won't spoil that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But it's okay. So that's how it's canon. Like that's a major event that is very, very specific to the later one. I mean, here's a question for you though. Is it something that is very like story relevant in Fallout 3, or is it just something that's mentioned?
Well, kind of all of the Fallout games are very standalone. They'll make sort of minor references to other games, but like no storyline of any Fallout game, except 1 and 2 they're not really tied together. 1 and 2 are the only ones that are actually really tied together.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Well, from tactics, unless you got anything else to say about it.
Nah, it's you can go on. It's
All right, all right.
not a lot to say.
So, Fallout. Next one would be Fallout Brotherhood of Steel. Now, this one apparently it's another spin-off, and we'll have explain a little bit. But it is not canon apparently at all. But it is a game that's out there, so we're gonna throw it in here. You can play it. If you want to kind of throw it in there. Out of curiosity, basically what I'm gonna ask Kitty to kind of help figure this out for
Mhm.
sure. Or Dakota, I gotta stop doing that.
Yeah.
So, does anything that happens in Brotherhood that you know of contradict anything that happens in the other games, though?
Yeah. That's the whole reason why it's not canon.
Okay.
It has a lot of contradictions in it.
Okay. You have an example?
Nope, I don't. I didn't look into contradictions, but both Interplay, which were the original developers of the franchise
Right.
before Bethesda took over, and Bethesda have both said there's just too many problems with it. It doesn't fit in with the rest of the universe, so it can't be canon.
Fair enough. But at least because there's a set date, it's 2208. It would technically take place after Tactics.
Right. Yep.
Okay. So, I mean, do you want to? It apparently takes place in Texas.
Yeah, there's really not a lot to say about it. It's very similar to Tactics, both in gameplay and setting. Not location setting. It's totally different part of the country, but you're also a Brotherhood of Steel initiate. You're not the leader of a squad. You're just a normal initiate. You get to pick from 3 different characters at the beginning of the game, but it's Brotherhood of Steel is one of those like hardcore fan kind of things.
Right.
Just if you want to play another Fallout game, even if you don't care if it's canon or not,
Right.
it's like something you don't need to do. And most people another problem with it didn't get very good reviews when it came out.
No,
So
I was
it's
looking. Yeah, all
really
these reviews were like
hardcore.
60s.
Yeah, you're only gonna like it if you're a hardcore fan.
Did they even have a PC release for it?
That is a great question. I thought I
Yes,
saw it.
I think they did. No, maybe not.
It looks like it was just Xbox and PS2.
That might be right. Yeah.
You are. I'm on the wrong page. You are right. Yeah, it did not come to PC. So more reason for not to call it canon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But okay. So I mean,
So it
from
makes it
there,
hard to play if you want to.
yeah,
Yeah.
go find it. Bring out your Xbox and dust it off and everything, or PS2. So I mean, from there though, we'll get back to like the main franchise of Fallout 2, which takes place 33 years after Fallout Tactics, and 80 years after Fallout. So, and it takes place in Oregon. That's pretty much my strict knowledge of it. I've tried it out. It's really, really hard. So I mean, I got a decent way into Fallout 1, but Fallout 2 I felt was even harder. So I mean, that's maybe just me
I
personally.
actually haven't even played Fallout 2 yet.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Well, anyways, Dakota, would you like to explain how this directly connects?
So basically, the player character in Fallout 2 is a direct descendant of the player character from the original Fallout, and you are you grown up in a village basically, and this village needs you to go find something called a Garden of Recreation Kit, which was built by the same people who built the vaults. And basically, the purpose of this kit was after the event of a nuclear fallout to rebuild civilization. It's supposed to change a wasteland area into a lush, green, plant-filled place to regrow, to restart anew. And that is basically the storyline of Fallout 2. Not really.
Okay. So
that's how it starts out.
Your direct descendant. So do you? I can't remember. Do you start off in a vault, or is there any vault?
Nope. You start out right in the village.
That's what I thought. Okay, so, all right. So, from there, of course, is there anything else you need to add to Fallout 2?
Not a whole lot. No,
No.
it's yeah.
Okay, so I mean, from there, of course, we go to the wonderful first Bethesda game, Fallout 3.
Mhm.
So, this of course takes place in Washington D.C. 36 years later. Of
After
course,
Fallout 2.
yeah, after Fallout 2, of course, 2277, and it's Vault 101, where
Yep.
you start off and you get greeted, of course, by Liam Neeson, and
Fresh from the vagina.
yeah, pretty much, and his lovely voice and everything. So, and you go through your kid's life, which I guess would technically be a little bit sooner than 2277, but the bulk of the game is
Yeah, the
2277.
prelogue or
Yeah, the
prologue.
prologue. So I mean, basically, so how does this and two connect?
This is the point where you kind of really start to notice the games are, or each game after Fallout 2 is really set apart. Its own individual. They're all individual experiences and games and locations.
Mhm.
So it's set in the same universe,
Right.
but
Well, I
the
mean, they're all
It
only
takes
separated.
place on the other coast, so not a
Right.
lot
I mean,
yeah
they're all
connects to each
separated,
other.
but I mean, there are ways that they are connected, as you said before. So apparently, you said Fallout 3 does reference
yes,
tactics.
there are references, but there's no point where you're gonna hear something and not understand what it's talking about.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's part of the great gameplay style that Bethesda is. They're good and known for. Like you can play Skyrim without playing Oblivion.
Right, yeah.
Uh,
They're
so
good at not assuming the player has played another game in the series.
Right.
okay. So I lost my train of thought there. So kind of give us a general overview of Fallout 3.
Grant, you want to take this one?
Grant, go for it.
Well, you start out in Vault 101, and for reasons you have to leave. It's very similar to the first one. Well, kind of the first game.
Right.
And you go out into the Capital Wasteland and have adventures.
Have a
Um,
bunch. Oh, like give us like a breakdown, like the basics, main story points.
all right. Well, we didn't really cover on it for the for I believe it was mostly in Fallout 2 was the Enclave, right?
Yeah, the Enclave were introduced in Fallout 2.
Okay, the Enclave is the other group he referenced earlier. He didn't really talk about them, but they were I'm not sure whether they were Vault Tech or U.S. military, but they are trying to take over the Capital Wasteland to redo everything in their image.
Well, it's kind of shady what they. It's shady in that we don't really understand what they're trying to do. It's never really explained in that much detail. And
Yeah.
yes, the Enclave are the remnants of the U.S. Military.
Yes,
Okay.
that is what I'm seeing here. And they claim to be legally sanctioned and everything, but that's where it gets fuzzy. You're not 100% sure. Uh,
Well,
and
spoilers abound there, so we can't really go into that
well,
either.
we're gonna have a little bit of spoilers here, but we'll try and keep it on a minimum. Not do any huge major plot points, but because I mean that's kind of the nature of this show. So okay, I lost my train of thought. So okay, what else? What else? Fallout 3.
Uh, okay, so Fallout 3, it's worth mentioning that the vault that you start in Fallout 3 has been sealed since the day that the bombs fell that, are part of the whole thing of the Fallout series. So that's 200 years later. That's a pretty remarkable time to be sealed in a vault with
Right.
no outside contact. So, yeah, in the same way that in the Fallout and Fallout 2, the area that like Los Angeles and all that is called the Boneyard. The area of DC in the Fallout universe is called the Capital Wasteland, for obvious reasoning. So basically, it's it is obviously Washington D.C., but it's also some like the surrounding states as well. So Maryland,
Right.
Virginia, you get some interesting areas around there to explore, which is probably the biggest point of Fallout 3. It's it's a really interesting world to explore in Fallout 3.
Yeah.
Right. And let's see, like the Brotherhood of Steel are, of course, in it. They have the Citadel, right?
Yes,
Yes, the
although
Pentagon.
the ruins of the Pentagon, although the the Brotherhood of Steel and Fallout 3 are different than the Brotherhood of Steel from tactics and
They came
in previous games.
they came from California, but
Yeah,
they have changed their ideals
they kind
and
of abandoned
creed.
their ideals.
They
Okay.
are very
Explain that a little bit to me and to everyone else.
Okay, so the basically the leader of the chapter, they're called chapters, areas in particular of Brotherhood of Steel collections of their people are called chapters, and the Capital Wasteland chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel kind of abandoned their original purpose, which was to
gather
scavenge
technology.
to scavenge technology from the Capital Wasteland because they realized that the people in that area were really kind of needing of protection, and so they kind of split off from the other chapters and decided to start helping instead of just hoarding.
Okay.
Yep.
So they gotten to be better.
Yeah, the
They're more
good.
knightly than the other
Yeah,
Brotherhood of Steel.
ironically,
Okay.
yeah. The other chapters of the Brotherhood of Steel are kind of in the gray zone of moral rightness, whereas the Capital Wasteland chapter are kind of very definitely good guys.
Okay.
Like none of them will go out of their way to kill people, but if they want the technology, they will come and take it.
And they're very they have a superiority complex. The rest, anyway, they think they're better. They think that the unwashed masses shouldn't have the technology they do, and that only they have the foresight to not ruin the
Abuse
world
them.
again.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else to add to Fallout 3 and how it connects to anything else, or even like a little bit more in the story?
No, I think that's a good overview of what it is.
Okay. So that would well, from there, of course, that brings us into Fallout New Vegas. So of course, it takes place in the Las Vegas area. It's 2281. So it's only what 4 years after.
Hmm.
So the player, actually, you know what? Grant or Dakota, I'll let you take it from here.
Great, can go ahead.
All right. In Fallout New Vegas, you start as a courier who has, as far as I can tell, no relation to any vaults whatsoever, which is new for the most part to this. I mean,
Mhm.
apart from the tactics games. You get shot in the head when you start the game, and you're dumped in a grave. A doctor finds you and heals you and gives you his vault uniform, and you go out into New Vegas. And the New Vegas area, or the crap, what's it called?
Nevada.
The Nevada area
Yeah.
is unique in the Fallout universe in that it has had almost no bombs were dropped anywhere around there. They got a lot of the fallout from other locations, but it in and of itself did not get wasted.
Hmm.
Which
Like
I honestly I find kind of funny considering all the military activity that is in real life around that area. But I don't know. I'm not sure if they cover that.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
It is part of the main story plot that it gets explained why the New Vegas and the Nevada area kind of is
pretty much
untouched.
lasers.
Yeah, we
That's
won't
as far as
spoil
we'll
too
go.
much, but
Okay. Lasers. Okay.
lasers.
I guess they take care of most of the
Yeah.
problems. Okay. Uh. All right. So to continue. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Well, in that one, there's a bunch of different factions, including the NCR. There's a small faction of, or a small chapter of Brotherhood of Steel. There's also Caesar's Legion, and they're a bunch of tools. I hate them. they modeled themselves after the Romans and are
I
very
figured.
brutal in their way of life.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, if you follow the route you're normally taking, they completely murder an entire town with a lottery just because, as far as I can tell, is the
Yeah.
only reason they did that.
Okay. Okay. Uh, Kitty, do you have anything? Dakota, do you have anything else to say to that?
Yeah, so Fallout New Vegas, gameplay wise, it relies very heavily on the idea of factions, which until previously wasn't really touched on too much. Um, there are really three main factions in Fallout New Vegas: the Legion, which, by the way, they really model themselves after the Roman Empire. They are primarily hand-to-hand combat. It's kind of their thing. And then there's the NCR, and the NCR and the Legion are kind of battling uh, back and forth for control of the area. The NCR wants the power that the Hoover Dam will provide,
Right.
which actually brings up another interesting point, which is that in one form or another, most of the Fallout games are centered around water.
Right.
In
Makes sense.
in New Vegas, it is the Hoover Dam. In 3, it is the Purifier, which is part of the main
Which we
storyline.
didn't talk about for
Yeah, we didn't really
3.
talk about it, but it's kind of the main. It's the entire story basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Fallout 1, it is the Purifier chip. In Fallout 2, it's kind of iffy, but basically the Garden of Eden creation kit. I mean, you can't have plant life without
Yeah.
water. So
Or what do they call it? Gek.
Yeah,
yes,
the
okay.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, really the entire game is very faction related. And then there's another faction too, which we won't spoil, but it's a major player in the field in the game, basically.
Okay. Okay. Um. So kind of give a little thing. So, are there any? Have you seen any connections between like 3 and 4, or not 3 and 4, but 3 and New Vegas that you noticed, or connections between any of the other games? I mean, of course, there was the New California Republic, which we kind of talked about.
Yeah, apart from just gameplay, they have nothing to do with each other, honestly.
There are slight references here and there, but again, they're
New
very
Vegas
separate.
is more related to 1 and 2, I
Right.
Yeah.
I've
think.
seen. Actually, apparently, Marcus the Mutant, who is in Fallout 2, he is also in Fallout New Vegas. That's a little tidbit there. A character,
Yeah.
of course, voiced by Michael Dorn, for anybody who cares. But yeah, there's that connection. You notice anything else?
No,
Of course,
yeah.
factions and references, of course, of that
Right,
nature.
yeah, they do make a lot of references to Fallout 1, even more so Fallout 2, really, but again, New Vegas and 3 are separate entities based in
Mm-hmm.
the same universe.
Right.
You could totally play one
Oh yeah.
without ever having experienced the other. So,
Yeah. Um, but go further, a little bit further though. Like one of the reasons why they probably make more references to 1 and 2 is because it is developed by Obsidian, which I'm sure most people do know. But Obsidian is made up. A lot of the main members are made up of Black Isle, who actually used to develop for Fallout 1 and 2. So I probably a lot of that went into that just because they had a connection to the series way back, so they probably wanted to make more connections. I
mhm.
did just a notice. I don't know if you have anything else to add to
Yeah, probably.
that.
Yeah, no.
But all right. Well, from there, of course, that brings us to
Big one.
the
Fallout
one everyone
4.
else is playing, Fallout 4. So I'll let you guys have it at this one since you guys have been playing this a lot lately.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know anything about the main story, honestly. I've just been exploring, so
Yep, I haven't gone. I've done the intro quest to the main storyline. That's it.
Well,
Nice.
I mean that's part of the amazing thing about these games is
but
that they're so open. But
Yeah.
go ahead,
this
Greg.
one's cool because you actually start out before the bombs fall. Uh,
Right,
probably
you get
about like an hour before the bombs fall.
Yeah.
You and then you're stuck in cryostasis without your knowledge,
right.
Yeah.
or But then you're sent to, or stuff happens, and you have to go out into the world of Boston,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, all the bombs
also known
dropped
as
and
the
everything.
Commonwealth.
I don't think ruining the first hour is gonna change anybody. I'm pretty sure most people know the basics of what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I don't know anything about the story, so this is kind of where I have to drop
Well,
out of
okay,
this.
so give me an idea. Well, so it's 2287, right? You're just located outside of Boston, so that would be what 6 years after New Vegas.
Hmm.
Yes, and you're actually right next to Concord. That is where you were located.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So okay, so Concord, Massachusetts. Okay, so you said it's located by Vault 111.
Yep.
111, yes.
Okay, so so far we haven't noticed anything, or we haven't noticed any connections or anything yet. I mean, it's a huge game, but basically it is the last of so far in the storyline.
They'll make another,
Oh,
definitely. I
I'm
mean,
sure they
Oh
will.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt they will. So, um, so to kind of go, unless you guys got anything else to add to this,
I
just
do
kind of
not.
overviews. Katie, did you have anything?
Not really. Just that it's you're like well, like we said, you're in Massachusetts. You're in the sort of outlying areas of Boston, and you get to you. Uh, it's it's hard to talk about this since it's so recent, but
Go for it.
so it's kind of interesting that it kind of goes back to the roots of what Fallout is as an idea, which is like American. It's 1950s patriotism, and Boston is a very historic area for
Yes,
America in time. So
it is. It's a very lovely
it's
city.
it definitely plays on that patriotism thing, which you actually do see a lot in Fallout, but it's like turned up to 11, I guess, in Fallout 4, which is fun for
Right.
sure.
So, yeah, and I'm sure both of you are really enjoying the game. I know Katie's been having a few problems,
Oh
Playing
but
it
they're
right
mostly
now.
technical.
yeah, oh yeah,
Uh,
it's super fun, but it's just unfortunate that in 2015 we have some of the problems we have.
right. But okay, so to kind of give a little bit of overview of everything, so of course we have one tactics, Brotherhood of Steel, but I'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about this right now. So basically, the idea here is Fallout 1. Like, if you are wanting to play this in total chronological order, I would think 1 is pretty much a must if you're going to do it this way. It's going to be hard. It's going to be rough. But I mean that's I think the nature of the beast for that game.
Yeah,
Especially if you're used to playing. Let's be honest, most people are playing 3 New Vegas and 4. That's what most people have played. It's definitely a different experience. You know, the top-down, isometric feel. Like a modern game. What would you say it's probably most similar to?
Sorry, what was that last part?
Fallout 1, a modern game. What is it most similar to?
mm. Oh, trying to remember the name of that game.
Shadowrun.
Yes, Shadowrun. It's
That's what I
similar
was
in that
thinking.
idea, yeah.
Yeah,
Or Wasteland 2, kinda.
Kind of, yeah. I'm definitely in setting.
well, I mean, it is based off of Wasteland. In
Yeah, Fallout is the spiritual successor to the original Wasteland game that came out in 1988, I think.
yeah,
See, a little tidbit there.
Fallout came out in 97, by the way. So it's
Yes.
an old game.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I think like most of you are gonna probably play it on PC because I don't even did Fallout 1 come out on any other consoles?
no,
No.
it was a DOS only type of
Yeah.
deal.
I think there was a Windows version of it.
Yes, there
Uh,
was. I do remember. I remember watching some
Yes,
things.
there is a Windows version. You can
Uh,
also get it on Mac as well.
yeah.
So there is that, and then so for people who want to get a hold of that, that's the best way to do it. And then from there, tactics like is Tactics is kind of like we said, it's semi-canon, so all the major things
Yeah, the
are
main
there.
storyline is canon, so if you
Yes.
want to experience it for that, go for it. Go for gold.
Go for it. I don't. It's not 100% necessary, but again, going into this, it's definitely worth a shot if you can get your hands on it.
Yeah.
You'll probably rip your hair out also.
Yeah, I've heard it's very hard. I don't know. I know. Actually, here's one. Here's one for you. Does that bomb back there have all these games?
Yes, it's the anthology, so well, oh, does it have
It might not have Brotherhood of Steel. I can't
Open
remember.
it up. It probably
Yeah.
Yeah,
does.
let's bring it
does
over
it?
here.
No.
Let's look
let's see. Yep, Fallout 2 Tactics. It does not have Brotherhood of Steel, though.
Okay, so and let's be honest, with Brotherhood of Steel, it's not canon. It's
It's not good.
well, it does. It didn't come out for PC. So Brotherhood of Steel is not canon. It's pretty much only for the super hardcore, and you just love Fallout, and you just are craving something related to Fallout. That's the only way I would say I'd recommend going for that. And you have an Xbox or PS2 that can play it,
Yeah.
or a backwards compatible PS3 or whatever.
Or emulator that runs it well. Whatever.
Right. Which PC was it PCSX 2 is the good PS2 emulator. It runs mostly anything. There's a few games here and there I've found, but it's a good emulator. So and then we have Fallout 2, which what did that come out on? Lost my train of thought here.
Probably also DOS, right?
It came out on
Maybe just Windows.
only Windows, but Windows and Mac OS
Yep.
X. So you can't play it on a Mac. Again, it's
Good
in
old
the
games
anthology.
too. I
Yeah,
think they have it again.
Good old games.
Yes.
I think has all of these.
Yep.
They, I know they used to, but they could.
Well, because there was that the old internet, but I think they re-upped it with Bethesda when they got the full.
Yeah,
license.
they did. I actually just downloaded them from GOG about a month ago. So yeah, they have it.
Oh, just kind of go back. Tactics. Is there any game you would say kind of similar style, or is it probably still
Probably Syndicate.
Shadowrun?
I
Just
think.
Syndicate.
Yes.
Well, not the newest one,
Not
but
the new one.
the old Syndicate. That's probably a good one. But yeah, I can't think of anything else. It's definitely a different type of game. I can't really think of anything else that's quite like it. But 2, of course, kind of picks up that same gameplay style of 1. So, and it's definitely a huge part of the series. Again, I thought it was very, very hard. I couldn't get very far into it. I don't know if you have anything else to add to that for playability.
2 came out in '98. That's all I have to add, really.
Yeah, 98. Again, I think it's part of the main series. So I mean, if that's what you want to do, go back, give it a try. It's considered a really good game.
You know, Fallout 2 is probably, if you were short on time or for some reason you could only play one or the other, I'd say do 2.
I would say do 2 as well over 1.
Both because you'll catch some of the references in Fallout New Vegas more easily,
yes.
but also because
no time limit.
yeah,
yeah.
A lot of big players in the universe. I forgot
about that in 1.
Yeah, a lot of the lore of the series kind of gets introduced in 2, so definitely.
Yeah, 2 is more lore heavy.
Yeah, totally.
Probably. I mean, again, it's kind of the whole thing of like games. With the first one is always like the proof of concept most of the time. Yeah. It's always the second game that's like, oh, the first one did well. Look at all the stuff we can do now.
Yeah.
And that's where 2 comes in. Yeah, it's definitely overarching storyline wise. It is way more important than the first one.
Yep.
And then of course from there we get into the Bethesda era of Fallout. I mean, technically New Vegas is Obsidian, but it was overseen by Bethesda and published by them. So 3, what do you guys have to say to that for playability? Of course, it's pretty playable.
Extremely playable.
Yeah, it certainly feels It hasn't aged the best.
Yeah, it has aged a little bit, but if you're
Totally.
playing on PC, mod the hell out of it if you can.
Yeah.
It's also really hard to play on PC because it isn't set up for Windows 10
Oh,
or 8 or 7 or any of them.
Or anything. Yeah.
well, if games for Windows Live, I
You
think
can
you have to
disable
mod
that.
it to get that right.
No, you don't really even need to
Oh,
mod
you
it.
can just disable it then. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
actually, check out the PC Gaming Wiki page for Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas when you go to play them. There's a lot of uh, really helpful stuff on there to get it working with modern computers and working well, not
Hmm.
awful.
Okay. But also, they're both available on PS3 and Xbox 360. Uh, so if you have one of those, you can pick it up there. I'm sure you can grab it cheap from Amazon or something.
Mm.
Um, yeah, of course. Again, Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3 they're all on the same engine. They're very similar graphically.
Mm.
I know New Vegas it seemed like New Vegas was a little more glitchy, but it's still very playable. And I think
Obsidians.
if you are in love with the Fallout series by then, you're gonna play both of these for sure.
Yes.
Uh,
It's
Go ahead.
more in-depth game, honestly. I mean, you can do a lot more in the game.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's easier
they
to actually play. It's easier to mod and run. So
they improved a lot of the gameplay features from 3. So,
Right.
yeah.
No, I mean, go if you want to go more into it, man. Go for it.
Now it's uh, we'll probably get to it a little bit sooner or a little bit later, so I'll hold it for now.
Not all right. Fine. So from so that's three. Of course, there's four that's out right now, and there's still some technical problems, um, for some people, but overall, it seems to be working for most people. I know on Xbox One, it's supposed to run great.
Oh, I thought it was the opposite. It
yeah, I've heard
runs
Uh,
there's
awful.
actually lag
I heard
on
no PS4. I
Framerate
heard there was more problems.
Xbox.
Now, well, I saw some frame rate comparisons, and both were dropping to around 24 frames,
Okay.
but the
Right.
Xbox had a few moments where it literally dropped to zero, like it just hard
Huh.
froze for a moment.
I
So,
heard the same thing on PS4. Like it was dropping to like 4 frames per second
uh,
sometimes.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's actually froze. I haven't heard that one, but I didn't hear that on Xbox One either.
Yeah.
Uh, so I know they were dropping frame rates pretty bad, but at least I will say this, and a lot of people are complaining. Um, Maybe they'll fix some of that, but it does run at 1080, at least on PS4. I don't know if it does on Xbox One. At 30 most of the time, where it'll drop here and there. But I'm glad they went that route instead of 720 60. I think for that type of game, it's not like super high paced action, so I think the higher resolution at lower frame rate is better personally. But I don't know if you guys have a take on that.
I,
I
I don't
don't
know.
play in console, so I don't know.
Yeah, PC.
Right. Okay.
It's
Actually, here's something I want to go into that we haven't touched yet. The DLC for the games.
yes.
I don't know if there was expansion packs or anything for 1 and 2.
No, I don't
I
believe
don't
so.
think so. But the DLC for Fallout 3. Does anybody want to go into detail about
Phenomenal.
some of that?
The Pit and uh, Mothership Zeta were excellent. In one, you get abducted by aliens, and you and people from throughout time have to escape.
Right. Yeah. That's the neat thing about Mothership Zeta. Yeah, there's a lot of different people from tons of different eras of time that kind of links a lot of this. Well, not necessarily the games together, but just different parts of time to explain this universe a little bit better.
And in the Pit, you go to Pittsburgh,
Right. Of
and
course.
and it's a big steel mill for the most part.
Hmm.
It's very fun.
Makes sense. What about any of the other ones in 3?
All the DLCs in 3 are really good, honestly. They're
Well, I
quite.
mean, are those the only two that like take you somewhere else?
Nope.
No, there's I can't remember the name of it. You go to a swampland and
Point Lookout. Yeah,
Point
it's
Lookout,
in
yeah,
Maryland. Yeah.
in Maryland.
Ah,
Uh, there's a lot of hillbilly mutant people in that,
Yeah.
okay.
but again, it's all of the DLC in that were
Yeah.
really really good, and I actually I got all the DLC. I haven't really played all of them in New Vegas, so I can't really say
Okay.
much about most of it.
Well, which one has Operation Anchorage?
Yeah,
That is
that's
Fallout
3.
3, and
Yeah.
that
Okay,
was
that's three.
excellent also.
Yep.
It takes you to Alaska, of course,
Hmm.
right?
You don't
This is.
actually go to Alaska.
Oh, you don't
It's a
actually.
Nope.
no, it is a hologram in the DC wasteland.
Well,
Ah.
a simulation, but yeah,
Simulation
simulation
hologram,
pod.
whatever. Yeah.
See, these are the things. Uh, okay, so you go to fake Alaska.
Fake Alaska,
Yeah.
yes.
I
And
heard it explained some of the early stuff in the timeline of Fallout, like way back.
all right, well, in the between the 40s and the 70s, America gets to the moon before anybody else goes to space for reasons. I don't know why. Uh,
Yeah, and it's like totally different, like astronauts and everything landed,
yes, different
and we haven't
astronauts.
really.
I it probably happened like I don't know 10 years earlier than we actually went up to
Actually, I
space.
think it's the same year when I looked at it.
I don't know.
I will double check on that.
1969.
Yep, 1969. So,
Okay,
yep, same year.
same here. Uh, then eventually, because of overpopulation and lack of resources, China started going for Alaska. Uh, I believe, right, Dakota?
Yeah. They want to get at the Alaskan oil fields because the world is running out of resources.
Right, right.
So America annexes Canada for so they can get closer, I guess. I don't know if they counted it as the 51st state or whatever, but
I don't think they did.
Probably not. All right.
uh, yeah.
Okay. So we had that. So in New Vegas, explain to me some of the DLC. I actually don't know them off the top of my head the names.
I know Old World Blues. I never played it, so I can't really tell you about it. Um, there's what's the one with the Sierra Nevada Hotel?
Dead money.
Dead Money.
Yeah, that's right, that money.
You go to a casino and get a bomb strapped to your neck.
Yeah.
You also can't go to near radios or
Ow.
shit like that.
I don't
Ah!
know. Ow.
Basically, Dead Money is Fallout Survival turned up to 11, and then you're told to run a rat maze to help an old guy. That's sort of the explanation of that DLC.
I,
A lot of people hate it. A lot of people swear by it being the best DLC in the franchise. I'm on the latter end of that spectrum. I think it's an excellent DLC. It's just really hard.
I got caught up playing the roulette tables.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I finished it or not, but that was the only one I really played.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then there's also there's Lonesome Road, which was the last DLC, and there's the one that takes place near Salt Lake. I can't remember what it is called off the top of my head.
Lonesome Road and Old Lord Blues,
Yep.
Dead Money, and
Wait. Honest Hearts.
Honest Hearts.
All right. What's that one? You said Salt Lake?
It involves the New Canaanites, which was a cut faction from the Van Buren game that never came out. So
Ah, right, right. Yeah, Van Buren, for anybody who doesn't know, that was Interplay's attempt at Fallout 3, but they
It
ended up
didn't.
never,
Fell apart.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Never
ended up
came to
never coming
fruition.
about.
Good enough.
They did have some stuff, like they have their screenshots and everything out there of it, but it
They
never came
got
to
pretty
fruition.
far in it, but it
Yeah, they
just
got really
never.
far.
Like 1/3 or half of it done or whatever.
Yeah, it was something like
Yeah.
that. So, uh, so basically, I'm going to start closing this out. Is there anything else you guys want to add? You
I'm
Fallout
good.
Masters.
Yeah. Uh, we don't want to make this video too much longer, so
Uh, all right, so basically close this out. Basically, yeah, it's one tactics, you, Brotherhood of Steel, but we recommend you skip that one. And then two, Fallout 3, New Vegas, and of course 4, which is what everyone is playing. Just check your Steam friends list. I guarantee you have like 20 people playing it right now. Uh, so it Fallout. It's a great series. I say on average it seems to be rated 8s or 80s and above. If you haven't played it, yeah, give it a shot. If you want to punish yourself a little bit, if you really want to get into it, yeah, play it the chronological order. If not, at least start with 3 and
yeah. If you
work your
want
way
to
up.
get into the franchise, start with 3 and then play New Vegas afterwards. 3 is a great introduction into what the Fallout universe is like. New Vegas is kind of an expansion onto Fallout 3. It has a far better story but less interesting exploration. Fallout 4 is kind of the uh, combination and upgrade of both of those. And I recommend you play it three New Vegas 4 because if you try to play if you play 4 and then 3, you're probably going to lose interest in 3 because they're so different. Like not
Right.
different as in
They're pretty similar, but
they're similar,
Right.
but they're
They
like
build on top of each other.
yeah, 4 is obviously quite newer
Right.
and 3 even 3 when it came out was not a great first person shooter.
No,
So
no,
it
it's
was
kind of clunky a
really
little bit
it
there.
was the atmosphere and the idea of Fallout that made it as great as it was. So try to play it 3 New Vegas 4 or you'll probably regret it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you're really into that old style of gameplay, you can start with 1. But if you're not the type who wants to really like challenge yourself, start with 3.
Yeah. If you like 3 New Vegas 4 any of those, then go back.
Mm-hmm.
Then you'll probably actually enjoy it then. Otherwise you'll probably be bugged when trying to play. Like I think you'll ruin your desire to become interested in the series if you try to play the original games first, but that's my opinion. So
Mm-hmm. Right. Like I said, it's more. It's a really a lot more hardcore gamer thing to do
yeah,
1, 2 first.
absolutely.
Grant, do you have any last thoughts on the chronology of Fallout?
I do not.
Honestly, it is very straightforward. Out of a lot of them that I've done, I know this is the very first video, but we've kind of done little things beforehand of chronologies. I will be going back and talking about those that we've done before, but this was one of the easier ones. I think the only one that was out of place was Tactics and Brotherhood of Steel in relation to when they came out.
Hmm.
Yes.
Because it went 1, 2, then Tactics, right?
Yep.
And Brotherhood of Steel, then 3 new, then it was pretty straightforward again after that. So, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the show. If there's anything that we missed or you think that we got wrong, whatever, please correct us. We want to make sure we get this stuff straight. Uh,
We're not perfect.
yeah, we're not perfect. Yeah, subscribe and tell us. What series would you like to see next that we can go totally in depth with. Let us know in the comments, and we hope you again. Laters.
Bye.
Bye.